Right now, at this very second, the entire internet is witnessing something impossible. Something that defies logic. Something that breaks every rule in the hip-hop rulebook. Papoose, the lyrical miracle of New York, just did the unthinkable. He stepped into the ring with the biggest bully in rap history, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And he didn't just survive. He might have actually landed the hardest punch 50 has felt in 20 years. We are watching a moment where the unstoppable force of 50's trolling meets the immovable object of Papoose's dedication. And let me tell you, it is getting ugly. Fast. Most people think this is just jokes. Most people think this is just memes. But they are missing the dark, twisted history underneath this entire situation. Because when you peel back the layers, you realize this isn't just about a diss track. This is about respect. This is about legacy. And this is about secrets that have been buried for decades finally coming to the surface. Before we go any further, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Because the industry does not want us connecting these dots. They want you to think it's just a game. But today we are exposing the truth. Let's get into it. Let me set the stage for those who don't know how we got here. This beef didn't start with Papoose. It started with Clarissa Shields, the greatest female boxer of all time, multiple-time world champion, undisputed, and 50 Cent's girlfriend. Or at least she was. Because a few weeks ago, things between them went nuclear on social media. Public back and forth, allegations flying, relationship drama playing out for millions to see. And that's when Papoose decided to get involved. Now here's where things get interesting. Papoose didn't just jump in randomly. He's married to Remy Ma, another New York legend. And in hip-hop, especially New York hip-hop, there's a code. You don't disrespect women. You don't air out relationship business in ways that make the culture look bad. And when 50 started going at Clarissa publicly, making jokes, posting memes, doing what 50 does, Papoose saw an opening. Not just to defend Clarissa, but to do something he's been wanting to do for years. Challenge Curtis Jackson on wax. So Papoose dropped Agent Provocateur. And I'm telling you right now, this record is one of the most important diss tracks we've heard in 2026. Not because of the drama, but because of what it represents. This is old-school New York battle rap meeting modern beef culture. Papoose went line by line, bar by bar, exposing contradictions in 50's story, calling out his treatment of Lloyd Banks, questioning his entire legacy. And he did it with the precision of someone who's been studying 50 Cent for 20 years. The record hit number 4 on YouTube trending. Over 500,000 views in hours. Hip-hop fans everywhere were calling it one of the best diss tracks of the year. Some even compared it to Pusha T's The Story of Adidon. That's the level we're talking about. And well, you can already see the results. Because 50's response wasn't what anyone expected. And now here's where things really get interesting. 50 Cent has built his entire post-rap career on something very specific. Memes, trolling, social media warfare. He destroyed Ja Rule without dropping a single song in the 2010s. Just Instagram posts. Just jokes about empty concert venues. Just relentless mockery until Ja became a punchline. It worked perfectly. And 50 learned something valuable from that experience. Why waste time in the studio when you can win in the court of public opinion? Why give your opponent the legitimacy of a musical response when you can just laugh at them? It's psychological warfare. And for years it's been effective. But now we're in a different situation. Because Papoose isn't Ja Rule. Papoose is a respected lyricist. A battle rap veteran. Someone who's been in the trenches of New York hip-hop since the early 2000s. And when someone like that comes at you with bars, real bars, lyrical assassination, memes don't hit the same. Let me break down exactly what happened in Agent Provocateur. Because if you haven't listened to this track yet, you need to understand why hip-hop is going crazy over it. Papoose opened with something nuclear. He called out 50 for lying about how many times he got shot. Now for those who don't know, 50 Cent's entire origin story is built on this. 9 shots. That's the legend. Curtis Jackson got shot 9 times and survived. It's in his music. It's in his interviews. It's in the movie Get Rich or Die Tryin'. 9 times. But Papoose brought receipts. And this is where things get explosive. He referenced an old interview with Shaniqua Tompkins, 50's baby mother, the mother of his first son. And in that interview, Shaniqua said something that's been floating around hip-hop for years, but nobody really pressed 50 on. She said he was only shot 5 times. Not 9. 5. And Shaniqua would know. She was there. She was with him in the hospital. She saw the wounds. She counted them. And according to her, 50 inflated the number to 9 for one specific reason: to be bigger than Tupac. Because Tupac got shot 5 times in the Quad Studios shooting in 1994. And 50 wanted his story to be more dramatic, more legendary. So he added 4 more bullets to the narrative. And when you think about it, when you really think about it, this is devastating. Because 50's entire persona is built on being the ultimate survivor. The man who took 9 shots and came back harder. But if it was really 5, if he exaggerated his own shooting to create a better origin story, what does that say about everything else? And now where things really do get big is when you look at the pattern. Papoose didn't just stop at the shooting numbers. He went deeper. He talked about Lloyd Banks. Now for those who were outside the G-Unit circle, let me give you context. Lloyd Banks is one of the most talented rappers of his generation. Lyrical assassin, mixtape legend, and he was 50's brother, his right-hand man in G-Unit. They came up together in Queens. They survived the streets together. They built an empire together. But over the years, something happened. The relationship deteriorated. And when Banks' father passed away in 2023, there were reports that 50 wasn't there for him, that he didn't show up, that he didn't support his brother during one of the hardest moments of his life. And hip-hop noticed. Because loyalty is everything in this culture. You can beef with enemies. You can go to war with rivals. But you don't abandon your day ones. You don't leave your brother alone when his father dies. And Papoose called 5-0 out for this. He said it directly on wax. You treated Banks like he was disposable. You built your empire on his talent, and then left him when he needed you most. That's not what real friends do. That's not what real brothers do. And I mean, when you just look at how Banks has been moving the last few years. Quiet, distant from 50, doing his own thing, reconnecting with Tony Yayo more than Curtis. The evidence is there. Something broke between them, and now Papoose is forcing everyone to talk about it. But here's where things get even weirder. The third major point Papoose made in Agent Provocateur was about 50's entire response strategy. He said Curtis doesn't respond to diss tracks with music anymore. He just makes documentaries. He just posts memes. He just trolls on Instagram. And when you trace this back, you realize Papoose is absolutely right. Think about the last few years. When the game dissected him repeatedly, 50 didn't drop music. When Ja Rule kept trying to revive their beef, 50 didn't get in the booth. When Young Buck went at him, 50 responded with paperwork and legal threats, not bars. And now we have this current situation. In the span of 2 weeks, 50 has been hit with multiple diss tracks. T.I. dropped bars on him. Fabulous took shots. Rodamai went at him. DeMarnie dropped Miss Jackson, which had the entire internet talking. And now Papoose with Agent Provocateur. That's 4 legitimate artists coming at him with music. And 50's response to all of them? Not a single bar. Not one verse. Just Instagram posts. Just memes about streaming numbers. Just jokes about relevance. And really overall, this raises a massive question. Is 50 Cent scared to actually rap anymore? Because here's what people need to understand about battle rap culture. When someone challenges you on wax, you're supposed to respond on wax. That's the code. That's the respect. You can do all the extra stuff, the social media, the trolling, whatever. But at the end of the day, if someone drops bars on you, you drop bars back. Otherwise, you look like you're running. Otherwise, it looks like you can't compete anymore. And now let me show you exactly what 50 posted in response to Papoose. Because this is where the internet split in half. 50 posted a meme. A formula. It said, how to never blow up. And then it had this equation. 1 rap career plus still rapping plus 25 years plus still waiting plus 0 hits equals Papoose. I mean, on one level, it's funny. It's classic 50 Cent trolling. It's the kind of post that gets millions of likes and comments. But on another level, it completely avoids the actual content of what Papoose said. It doesn't address the shooting number discrepancy. It doesn't address the Lloyd Banks situation. It doesn't address anything about the bars. It just says, you're not commercially successful, so your opinion doesn't matter. And that's a dangerous argument to make in hip-hop in 2026. Because streaming numbers and commercial success don't equal skill. They don't equal truth. They don't equal credibility. Papoose might not have the hits that 50 has. That's a fact. But does that mean his bars don't count? Does that mean his points aren't valid? Does that mean he can't expose legitimate contradictions in 50's story? And when you think about hip-hop history, when you really think about it, some of the greatest diss tracks ever were made by artists who weren't the most commercially successful. Cannabis vs. LL Cool J. Cannabis didn't have bigger hits, but second-round KO is legendary. Nas versus Jay-Z. At the time of Ether, Nas wasn't outselling Jay, but he won that battle in most people's eyes. Common versus Ice Cube. Common was never as big commercially, but The Bitch in You is iconic. So 50's argument about streaming numbers and hits. It's a deflection. And hip-hop heads can see right through it. And here's where things get really important. Papoose responded to 50's meme immediately, and his response was calculated. He posted an old photo, a picture from the early 2000s. It showed him with 50 Cent and Lloyd Banks, all three of them together, back when Papoose was coming up in New York, back when they were all in the same circles. And the caption Papoose wrote was savage. He said, "On this day, Curtis' breath was smelling like shit. Now on the surface, that's just a funny insult. A petty jab, but it's actually way deeper than that. Because what Papoose is doing is showing that he has history with 50. He knows him personally. He was around him in the early days. And more importantly, he's saying, I'm not some random fan or hater. I'm someone who was there. I saw the real you. I know the truth behind the persona. And that's powerful. Because it takes away 50's ability to dismiss him as irrelevant. Papoose isn't an outsider looking in. He's an insider telling secrets." And then Papoose posted something else. A longer statement. "And this is where I need you to pay attention." He said, "It's a new day in hip-hop. The days of buying your own records to make it look like you got a hit is over. Inflated numbers can no longer make it seem like you're better than artists who are really nice. Corny memes can't save you from Papoose." Now what he's suggesting here is massive. He's implying that 50's commercial success might not be entirely organic. That there might be manipulation behind the numbers. That streams can be bought. That algorithms can be gamed. That the perception of success might be manufactured. And whether or not that's true, the fact that Papoose is even saying it out loud is significant. Because it plants doubt. It makes people question. It forces the conversation away from 50 is more successful to, is that success even real? And now I want to talk about the larger pattern here. Because what's happening to 50 Cent right now isn't random. This is part of a cultural shift that's been building for years. In the 2000s and 2010s, 50's strategy was perfect. Beef with someone, make them look foolish, move on. Never give them the legitimacy of a real response. Just mock them until they become irrelevant. It worked with Ja Rule. It worked with Fat Joe for a while. It worked with countless others. But in 2026, the game is different. Hip-hop fans are more educated. They care about bars again. They care about skill. They care about lyrical ability. The streaming era created a generation of rappers who got by on vibe and production. But now there's a hunger for real rap, real wordplay, real competition. And when you look at the biggest moments in hip-hop the last few years, Kendrick versus Drake, that was about bars. That was about skill. That was about who could rap better. And Kendrick won because his lyrics were sharper, deeper, more cutting. J. Cole's apology and the conversation around competition. Pusha T's entire career resurgence based on being a lyrical assassin. The return of battle rap culture into the mainstream. All of this points to the same thing. Bars matter again. And 50 Cent built his late career strategy on bars not mattering. On trolling being enough. On memes replacing music. But now he's facing multiple lyricists who refuse to play that game. They want him in the booth. They want him on wax. They want to see if Curtis Jackson can still actually rap at the level he did in 2003. And his refusal to engage musically is starting to look less like strategic brilliance, and more like avoidance. Let me take you back to 2003 for a second, because we need to understand who 50 Cent was at his peak. Get Rich or Die Tryin' dropped and changed hip-hop forever. Into Club, 21 Questions, Pimp, Many Men. These weren't just hits. These were cultural moments. 50 Cent was everywhere. He was the biggest rapper on the planet, and his skill was undeniable. The way he rode beats, the way he crafted hooks, the way he told street stories with mainstream appeal. He was special, and when he beefed with people back then, he did it on wax. Ja Rule, Jadakiss, Fat Joe. He responded to all of them with music. Wanksta, Back Down, Piggy Bank. Those were real diss tracks, real responses. He didn't just post memes. He got in the booth and destroyed people. But something changed over the years. As 50 became more successful, as he transitioned into business and television and film, the music became less important, the bars became less sharp, and the reliance on his persona and his social media presence grew. By the time we got to 2015, 2016, 50 was beefing with people, but not dropping music anymore. And it worked because social media was powerful, because virality mattered more than bars, because he could influence narratives without ever touching a mic. But now in 2026, that strategy is showing its cracks. And here's what makes this situation even more complicated. 50 Cent made a specific challenge to Papoose. He said, "Make one hit record and I'll respond to you." One hit. That's all Papoose needs to do, according to Curtis. And on the surface, that sounds reasonable, right? Like, if you want me to take you seriously, prove you can make a hit. But let's break down why that's actually a trap. First of all, what defines a hit in 2026? Streaming numbers? Radio play? Cultural impact? Viral moments? Because by some definitions, Agent Provocateur is already a hit. Number 4 trending on YouTube. Over 500,000 views, rapidly growing. Everyone in hip-hop is talking about it. That sounds like a hit to me. But 50 will move the goalposts. He'll say it needs to be on Billboard. It needs to be mainstream. It needs to cross over. And that's where the trap lies. Because 50 knows Papoose's lane. Papoose is an underground legend. A battle rapper's battle rapper. A mixtape king. A street poet. He's never been designed for mainstream commercial success. That's not his path. That's not his strength. So by demanding a hit, 50 is essentially saying, become something you're not, or I won't respect you. It's like challenging a boxer to beat you in swimming. Sure, they might not be able to do it, but that doesn't mean they can't beat you in their arena. And the booth is Papoose's arena. And now let me show you what the internet is saying about all of this. Because the reaction has been split. 50 Cent fans are flooding comment sections defending their guy. They're posting things like, Papoose is irrelevant. Nobody knows who he is. Or, 50 is worth hundreds of millions. Why would he waste time responding? Or, name 3 Papoose songs. I'll wait. And these comments get thousands of likes. Because 50's fanbase is massive. Because his influence is undeniable. But then you look at the hip-hop community. The real heads. The people who care about bars. And they're saying something completely different. They're saying, Papoose destroyed him and 50 has no response. They're saying, this is exactly what Pap said would happen. Memes instead of music. They're saying, if 50 can't respond on wax, he lost. Period. And you can see this split across platforms. Twitter is divided. Instagram comment sections are war zones. YouTube reaction channels are mostly siding with Papoose on the bars. But mainstream media is still treating 50 like he's winning because of his status. And this creates a fascinating question. In 2026, how do we measure who wins a beef? Is it commercial success? Is it lyrical ability? Is it cultural impact? Is it who has the last word? Because depending on which metric you use, the winner changes. Let me take this even deeper. Because there's a specific line in Agent Provocateur that nobody is talking about enough. Papoose said that 50 Cent's entire career strategy now is making documentaries instead of music. And when you look at what Curtis has been doing the last 5 years, my God, Pap is right. 50 produced a doc about his beef with the game. He's been working on docs about his life story. He executive produces BMF on Stars. He's made Power into a massive television franchise. All of this is documentary and narrative storytelling. But none of it is him actually rapping. None of it is him getting in the booth and showing he still has the skill. And here's why that matters. In hip-hop, your legacy is built on your bars. Not your business moves. Not your television shows. Not your social media following. Those things are impressive. Those things matter. But they don't replace being able to actually rap. Jay-Z is a billionaire businessman. But he can still drop 444 and remind everyone he's a lyrical master. Nas is building businesses and investing in tech. But he can still drop King's Disease albums and show he's still sharp. Kendrick is one of the biggest artists on earth. But he still cares about bars, still cares about competition, still gets in the booth. So where's 50's music? Where are the verses that show he still has it? Because without that, all the success in the world doesn't answer the question Papoose is asking. Can Curtis Jackson still rap at a high level? Or is he hiding behind his empire because he knows he can't compete anymore? And now I want to address something that's been floating around social media. The idea that Papoose is only doing this for attention. That he's using 50's name to get views. That this is clout chasing. And I've got to be honest with you. That argument is lazy. Because yes, of course beefing with 50 Cent gets attention. 50 is one of the biggest names in hip-hop history. Of course a diss track aimed at him is going to get views. But that doesn't make the bars any less valid. That doesn't make the points any less true. That doesn't erase the skill displayed in the track. Papoose didn't just mention 50's name and hope for clicks. He crafted a detailed, multi-layered diss track. He did research. He pulled receipts. He structured verses. He wrote metaphors and wordplay. He put in the work. And the result is a legitimately good diss record. So dismissing it as clout chasing is just a way to avoid engaging with the actual content. It's the same Deflection 50 is doing with his memes. Instead of addressing the bars, just attack the motivation. Instead of responding to the points, just question the relevance. It's a tactic. And hip-hop fans who care about the art can see through it. Let me paint a picture of what happens next. Because there are really only a few ways this can go. Scenario 1. 50 continues to ignore the music and just post memes. This is the most likely outcome. He'll keep trolling. He'll keep making jokes about Papoose's streaming numbers. He'll keep deflecting with humor. And his fans will eat it up. They'll declare him the winner because he didn't take the bait. Because he stayed above it. But the hip-hop community will see it differently. They'll see it as avoidance. They'll see it as 50 admitting he can't compete on wax anymore. And that perception will grow. Scenario 2. 50 actually responds with music. This would shock everyone, because he hasn't done this in years. But imagine if Curtis actually got in the booth and dropped a verse on Papoose. The internet would explode. Every reaction channel would cover it. Every blog would write about it. It would be a massive moment. But here's the risk for 50. What if the verse isn't good? What if it doesn't live up to his legacy? What if Papoose comes back and wins the exchange? That would damage 50's legacy in a way memes never could. So there's real danger in engaging. Scenario 3. Someone intervenes and squashes it. This happens sometimes in hip-hop. A respected elder statesman steps in. Or both sides realize there's nothing to gain. And they move on. But I don't see this happening here. Because Papoose seems determined. And 50 seems content to just mock him from a distance. So we're probably stuck in Scenario 1. And now I need to talk about something that's been bothering me about this whole situation. The double standard. Because when Drake faced Kendrick, Pusha T, and others, everyone demanded he respond on wax. When he tried to do anything other than drop music, people called him scared. When Meek Mill came at Drake and Drake responded with back-to-back, that was celebrated as the correct way to handle beef. Music for music. Bars for bars. But now with 50 Cent, there's this section of fans and media that says he doesn't need to respond. That he's above it. That his success speaks for itself. And I'm asking, why the different standard? Why does Drake have to respond but 50 doesn't? Is it because 50 is older? Is it because he's done more in his career? Is it because we don't expect him to still rap at a high level? Because if that's the reason, then we're admitting he's past his prime. We're admitting he can't compete anymore. And if that's true, fine. But then don't act like he's winning by avoiding the challenge. You can't claim someone is the best and also claim they don't need to prove it. Those two things contradict each other. Let me show you something interesting that happened in the comment sections. Under Papoose's posts responding to 50, there were thousands of comments. And yes, many of them were 50 Cent fans defending him. But here's what stood out to me. None of the comments actually addressed what Papoose said. Not one. They all said things like, "You're jealous of his success. Name one Papoose hit. Your woman pays your bills. You were a fan in that old photo." But nobody said, 50 wasn't lying about the shooting. Nobody said, 50 did support Lloyd Banks. Nobody said, here's why Papoose's bars are wrong. And that's telling. Because when you can't refute the argument, you attack the person making it. That's debate 101. That's what people do when they don't have a real response. And the fact that thousands of 50 fans are doing this simultaneously, it almost feels coordinated. It almost feels like there's a strategy to flood comment sections with deflections. To bury the actual conversation under a mountain of irrelevant attacks. And whether that's intentional or just fan behavior, the effect is the same. It protects 50 from having to actually address the substance. So what does all of this mean for hip-hop culture moving forward? What are we going to see as a result of this moment? First, I think we're going to see more lyricists challenging legacy artists. Papoose showed that you can get massive attention and respect by going at someone bigger than you. As long as your bars are strong. As long as your points are valid. As long as you do the work. Other underground and mid-tier rappers are going to see this and realize they have a path. You don't need to be at someone's commercial level to challenge them. You just need to be better in the booth. Second, I think the conversation around 50 Cent's legacy is going to shift. Not dramatically, not overnight, but slowly people are going to start asking, when was the last time 50 actually showed us he can still rap? When was the last time he cared about bars? When was the last time he treated hip-hop as an art form and not just a brand? And those questions matter, because legends aren't just built on what you did. They're also about how you're remembered. And if 50 spends the rest of his career avoiding musical confrontation, that becomes part of his story. Third, this sets a precedent for how beefs are handled in 2026 and beyond. If 50 gets away with just posting memes and never responding musically, other artists will try the same thing. They'll say, I don't need to rap. I'll just mock you on social media. And that could fundamentally change battle culture in hip-hop. But if the culture rejects that approach, if fans and media start demanding musical responses, then we might see a renaissance of real competition, real bars, real skill-based beef. And honestly, that's what hip-hop needs. Let me make a prediction. I don't think 50 Cent will ever respond to Papoose with music. I just don't see it happening. He's going to continue trolling. He's going to continue posting memes. He might escalate and go after Remy Ma to try to shift the narrative. He might dig up old dirt on Papoose to change the conversation. But he's not getting in the booth. And here's why I'm confident about that. Because 50's entire brand for the last decade has been about being untouchable, about being above the fray, about letting his success and his empire do the talking. Responding to Papoose with music would contradict that brand. It would show that he felt pressured. It would show that the diss track got to him. And 50 can't afford to show weakness. His whole persona is built on never backing down, but also never being rattled. So he'll dismiss it. He'll laugh it off. He'll make it seem like Papoose isn't worth his time. And his fans will support that narrative. But the hip-hop historians, the people who really care about this culture, they'll remember. They'll remember that when Papoose dropped bars, 50 responded with memes. They'll remember that Curtis Jackson had an opportunity to prove he still had it. And he chose not to. Now I want to address something for the Papoose fans out there. Because there's a sentiment I keep seeing. People saying, Pap already won. And in a lot of ways, I agree. He got 50's attention. He went viral. He trended on YouTube. He reminded people of his skill. He gained respect from the hip-hop community. All of that is a win. But here's what Papoose needs to do next to really capitalize on this moment. 50 challenged him to make a hit record. And as unfair as that challenge might be, Papoose should actually try to do it. Not because he owes 50 anything, but because this is his moment. This is his window of attention. This is when the eyes of hip-hop are on him. So drop another song. Not necessarily a diss track. Maybe a regular single. Something that shows range. Something that could actually get radio play or streaming traction. Call it hit record as a petty joke toward 50. Or make it a parody track like Magic Stick or something. But use this attention. Because attention in hip-hop is currency. And Papoose has more of it right now than he's had in years. Don't waste it. And finally, I want to talk about what this moment represents for New York hip-hop. Because both of these artists are New York legends. 50 from Queens, Papoose from Brooklyn. And New York has always been the birthplace of battle rap, of competitive hip-hop, of the idea that you prove yourself on the mic. But somewhere along the way, New York lost that edge. The South took over commercially. The West Coast had its renaissance. Atlanta became the center of hip-hop culture. And New York became nostalgic. Older artists talking about the good old days, but not actually competing at the highest level anymore. This beef, as small as it might seem compared to Drake versus Kendrick or other major moments, this beef is about New York reclaiming that competitive spirit. It's about Brooklyn and Queens going at it with skill and creativity. It's about bars matching again in the city that invented the art form. And regardless of how 50 responds or doesn't respond, the fact that Papoose dropped a track this caliber is a win for New York hip-hop. It shows that the culture is still alive, that the hunger is still there, that real rappers still care about the craft. And if you're a hip-hop fan and you're not excited about that, then I don't know what to tell you. And so now with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Papoose's Agent Provocateur diss track? Do you think it's one of the best of 2026, or is it being overrated? Do you think 50 Cent should respond with music, or is his meme strategy actually smart? Let me know if you believe the shooting story, the 5 versus 9 debate, because that's been circulating for years. What does this mean for 50's legacy if he never responds on wax? Do you think Papoose can actually make a hit record, or is 50's challenge impossible? And where do you see this beef going in the next few months? Is it over, or Or is there another chapter coming? Drop your thoughts below because I read every comment, and the discussions on this channel are always some of the best on YouTube. If you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton and ensures you don't miss any future breakdowns like this one. I can't thank you enough for watching. Your support means everything, and it's what allows me to keep making content breaking down hip-hop culture at this level. But in the meantime, if you want to see how Kendrick Lamar completely dismantled Drake's entire career with one track, and why the aftermath is still affecting hip-hop in 2026, well, you're not going to want to miss this one. So check out the suggested video on screen now, because that breakdown is just as deep and just as important as what we covered today. Until next time, stay tuned to Real Hip Hop, support the lyricists, and never let memes replace bars. Peace.